Previously on Lost.
Like, I found you peanut butter, but she's like, Charlie, it's an empty jar. And he's like, take the fucking peanut butter, eat it, bitch, and move to the caves. The first time that we see Ethan, he's supposed to be one of the crash survivors, and he's helping Locke hunt and blah, 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 blah. This video is Lost Part 9. It is an episode dedicated to Claire, and it is entitled Raised by Another. The very beginning scene of the episode, Claire's having a dream, although you don't know it's a dream right away, but you pretty much get the idea because she wakes up and she finds out that she's not pregnant. She goes out and she hears a baby crying, and she looks in the crib and she doesn't see a baby at all. And then she finds like a bunch of blood all over her hands, and she screams, and that's when she wakes up, and everyone in the camp, she's moved to the caves, remember, and she's screaming, and everyone's like, wow, what's wrong with her? She's, like, get her some peanut butter or something. Well, when she woke up from the dream, she actually did have blood on her hands, but it's because she was so scared that she dug her fingernails into her palms, and she's like, wow, I guess I probably should get those trimmed. Jack's like, like, how have you been doing and whatever, and she's like, well, I'm pregnant, so if that's what you're asking. No. Anyways, he's like checking up on her and making sure that she's okay. In Claire's flashback, she has taken a pregnancy test, and her boyfriend Thomas is, I'm sorry, she's got the little stick that she peed on. and her boyfriend Thomas is like, they're both freaking out because she's for sure pregnant, and he's like, well, maybe we could do this for real. She's like, we can't have a baby and whatever. And anyways, he convinces her that she should have a baby. Okay, in another flashback, so she goes with a friend for fun to go see the psychic. This is him with his hands on his head, like he's like, Anyway, so he starts the reading, and he's like, oh, when did you find out? And she's like, oh, about the baby? Oh, 2 days ago. And so, like, he's for real, right? Then he gets all freaked out and is like, no, I can't continue the reading. You're going to have to go. And she's like, well, what's the matter? Am I, like, someone's long-lost sister or something? No, she doesn't say that. But anyways, he doesn't continue the reading. He gets all freaked out, and so she leaves. So back on the island, Charlie's trying to comfort Claire because she had a rough night, saying, like, I'll basically take care of you, Claire, if you let me. Can't remember, they're at the cave. And so later that night, she's laying down and sleeping, and there's a bunch of people, remember, there. So just pretend that there's just a mess of people there. Anyways, someone, we don't know exactly who, we never see them, like, holds her down and, like, tries to do some stuff to her, and then she's like screaming, like, help me, oh my god, oh my god. And the entire camp wakes up and is like, what's going on, what's happening? And she's like, he had some sort of needle and he was trying to hurt my baby. And they're like, oh, really? Like, why would someone do that? So everyone basically thinks that she's just, had another nightmare. Charlie tries to comfort Claire again and gets her, to, like, calm down, and the rest of the camp at the caves is like, okay, well, maybe she really was attacked. They go off searching and looking all around the perimeter of where they're at to see if they can find anyone. So the group that's out looking for, in case there really was someone that attacked Claire, Hurley and Jack are some of them, or two of them, I should say. And Hurley's like, oh my god, like, maybe she really was attacked. And Jack's like, I just think that she's really stressed out, and that's dangerous for her. But Hurley's like, dude, we should probably make a list, because we don't know who's, like, staying at the beach and who's at the caves, and it would just be a good list to have so we know who's who and whatever. We really don't know each other. We should make this list. And Jack's like, okay, good luck with that. You get on that right away. So the next morning, Hurley's out making his list. Jack comes along and offers Claire a mild sedative, he says. And he thinks that she's crazy and that she's making the whole thing up, and she's basically grabs her stuff and decides that she's going to leave the cage. One of the people that Hurley asks about to make his list is Ethan. His last name is Rom, so his name is Ethan Rom. As he continues to ask people about who they are, where they came from. Hurley finds out from Boone that he's like, well, why don't you just get the plane's manifest? Then you can cross off everyone that was dead in the plane. Whoever's left would be everyone that's alive on the island. And Hurley's like, no way, dude, where the hell's that at? He's like, well, who do you think has it? Sawyer has it, because he's got practically everything else on the island, so... Hurley goes over and asks Sawyer, he's like, dude, you really need to give me that manifest. He's like, well, Stay Puft, if you really want it, why don't you just grab it from my suitcase? I ain't gonna stop you. Meanwhile, Claire's traipsing through the jungle to try and make her way out to the beach. And Charlie comes along and trying to convince her to stay and whatever. And in her flashback, you see that she goes to the psychic again. He says, okay, it's very important that you raise this child yourself. Your good nature will help this child, be good in life. And she's all freaking out because he starts talking about there's danger surrounding your child. And she says at the end of the flashback that she's going to give the child up for adoption. And he's like, you can't do that, Claire. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, she's like freaking out and stressing out about crap and blah, 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 and she thinks she's going into labor. So she tells Charlie, you've got to go get Jack. Charlie runs back towards the caves, and out in the jungle he meets Ethan, who's like collecting firewood or something, and he's like, you have to go get Jack, something's wrong with Claire. So Ethan takes off, and Charlie goes back to Claire. In Claire's second to last flashback, she's at the adoption services place. She's like gonna give up the baby, and she has to go to sign these papers. And her pen won't work. And then he gives her another pen, and that one won't work. And then the woman gives her a pen, and she's like, you know what? She kind of just realizes that maybe it's just not meant to be, so she gets up and walks out. She goes back to the psychic, and she's like, okay, what do I do? This is the psychic. And he says, I'll give you some money. You and the baby go to L.A. Or you go to L.A., you can give the baby to a good couple there. I'll give you $6,000. It has to be on this flight. And he gives her a plane ticket. And lo and behold, it's the flight for flight 815. Back on the island in real time, Claire's still having her labor pains or whatever, and Charlie's he rejoins her and tries to calm her down. And she tells him the whole story about how she got pregnant and her boyfriend left her, and she went to a psychic to find out what she should do, and he basically said that, the child had to be cared for by only her, but then changed his mind and said that there was a couple in L.A. Charlie's like, wait a minute, like maybe he knew Claire, maybe he knew. And she's like, oh my God, Charlie, you're right. He knew the plane was going to crash and I was going to be here, and that's why I have to raise the baby on my own, oh my God. Saeed comes in, and he's like, listen to me. And Kate and Jack are like, because I didn't say this in the last part, but like when his leg got messed up because he slammed into a tree when he got caught in the net. So Jack's trying to like fix him up and whatever, and he's like, we're not alone, we're not alone. He's basically trying to say that, that there are other people on the island. Hurley runs in and is like, Jack, we got a problem, dude. I double checked the manifest, and one of the people wasn't on the plane. Basically meaning Ethan. And so the very next scene, you see Ethan comes along, and he's got this big, freaking, gigantic, bigger than the plane knife. No, I'm kidding. I just thought I would throw that in there because I know you guys are expecting him to be a bad guy, but guess what? He is. You just see him walk up upon Charlie and Claire, and it's like, hi, and they're both looking like, okay, what the hell? Why didn't you go get Jack? And they kind of leave it like that.